Good day, Chicago. Coming up now, they knew what he was capable of and did nothing to stop him. The victims of the Orlando nightclub shooting are now demanding justice.
This cannot happen again. It's time for everybody to wake up. And not only
the Chicago attorney leading the lawsuit is here this morning to break down the details, and he's going to talk about what legally needs to be done to protect others from acts of senseless violence. It's 8:06 right now, turning now to the latest on another horrifying attack.
More than 50 victims of the Pulse nightclub shooting are suing Omar Mateen's former employer and his wife. And a press conference was held yesterday to address details of that lawsuit and hear from victims. They say the security company and his wife knew Mateen was unstable and planned to hurt people.
The filing of this case is only the beginning for our quest for justice for these brave individuals. Justice for Roberto, justice for Ilka, justice for Juan Jose. Justice for the hundreds of people who also lost their lives, not only in this particular instance, but as was said so bravely by them all, this cannot happen again. It's time for everybody to wake up. And not only
the attorney speaking is Antonio Romanucci. His Chicago-based firm Romanucci and Blandin is is leading the lawsuit.
And this morning he joins us right here in the Good Day Chicago studios to continue the conversation. Thank you so much. You were in Florida yesterday and you came on back. So let's talk about this. I guess I want to find out what are the victims' families seeking in this lawsuit?
Well, good morning to both of you.
Thank you.
I mean, clearly, the family is looking for, compensation, restitution for what happened to them. The human loss toll here is just horrific. It's so great. It's either death, multiple shots, paralysis, post-traumatic stress disorder. But I think more than anything, we want to use this also as a platform, as I said yesterday, as a wake-up call for others. We can't allow this to continue happening. It's been happening too often. It happened yesterday in London, although in another country, different circumstances. Why do we have to continue to listen to these stories every single day? So we want to use this as a platform for lawmakers to be able to say something. How can we actually and really stop this, as opposed to just giving our condolences after it happens?
And this isn't the first time that outside parties have been targeted by attorneys. We know in the Sandy Hook case that many of the families that were victimized went to a Connecticut judge to try to sue the gun manufacturer. That did not end up working. So why do you think it will this time by going after the employer?
Well, in that case, you are correct, Natalie. I mean, the Second Amendment offers very wide protection over the ownership of guns, and because of the strong gun lobby, there's also strong protections over the purchase of guns and when you can have them, how you can have them, the licensing. So those lawsuits have been very challenging. In this case, ours is much different. This is a supervision case where G4S knew about Omar Mateen's behavior, his words, his rants, his racism, his distaste for the LGBT community, and they continued to let him work for them. Not only that, but they're the ones who helped facilitate getting his concealed weapon license, which he used to buy weapons and ammunition.
So this is a major part of the lawsuit. His hate, his feelings towards, like you said, the LGBT community, as well as how he was even able to obtain a gun like this.
Well, it's both, and it's exactly correct. So the fact that anybody would say, how could you predict the future? How could you predict what Mateen was doing? That's a simple answer. If you can't predict safety, then we'd all be back in the Stone Ages. We'd still be smoking cigarettes like there was no abandon. We'd be breathing asbestos. We'd be driving Pintos. We'd be doing all the things that we now know cause harm and danger.
This puts a burden, though, I mean, a big burden on employers. I mean, doesn't it? And we already have people that are suing employers for being, wrongfully fired. And so, this adds another thing to the list that employers need to do then. If they hear these threats or really anything from an employee, then they have to immediately follow up on it.
Well, I don't think there's any question about that. Employers do have burdens. They have to ensure for not only the safety of their employees, but others if they know if that employee is a danger. Look, in the last couple of weeks, I've seen people fired for awkward tweets.
Right.
Right?
You're right. You're right.
An awkward tweet, not one that was a danger to anybody, but one that was, maybe a little insulting or offensive.
All right, let's talk about, and you're from here in Chicago. Your firm is based right here in the city.
It is.
But you're reaching out into Florida. Tell everybody about that and how you practice all over the country.
Well, I do. I mean, I'm very fortunate that I get the honor to represent people from other states other than Illinois. I look to make sure that the right thing is done. And, you know, Florida happens to be a state where I have a presence in.
And what's next in this lawsuit?
Well, we're going to wait for them to get served, and then we'll see what their first answer is that's not in the press saying that they don't expect this case to have any merit.
All right, Tony, thank you for joining us this morning. We appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for flying on back.
Thank you so much. Appreciate your time.